I'm also an immigrant. Came here when I was 4 years old and didn't know any English. And actually, my parents couldn't afford a babysitter, so they actually bought cable. So I grew up watching movies. It kind of is who I am.
This is the Insurance Technology Podcast, where we bring interesting people from across the insurance ecosystem to discuss and debate technology's impact on the industry. Join us each episode for insights and best practices from industry stewards and tomorrow's innovators.
Another startup in the hot seat, and today I have Alan Ringvald.
Hey, Christen. How are you?
Good. How are you? So
I'm good.
Just kind of wanted to get to know you a little better, and we'll do some work and some personal as well. So when it comes to work, is there a boss or mentor that has made a true impact in your career, and why?
Yeah. I'd say unofficial boss was my grandfather on my dad's side, entrepreneur, immigrant himself. He actually moved from Hungary to Uruguay during the whole World War II thing, and started a travel agency. And I kind of grew up working with him. And even as a little kid, I was out there selling with him and kind of watching him do his thing. And I think he rubbed off on me a lot. So I'm going to stick with that. My grandfather.
That's cool. It's an industry you don't hear many people going into anymore, right?
You know what? It's actually coming back now just because of how terrible travel is. Kind of want some help. But yeah, totally. It kind of went away there.
Kind of like insurance, right? You realize that you need an advisor to help you get the best thing.
Exactly.
So this could be work or personal, but best advice you ever got and from who?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm going to go to history for this one, to my good friend, Teddy Roosevelt. I just thought he was so cool. I've read a lot about him, and he always said this one thing that stuck with me, even as a little kid. It was get action. So just the idea of just going out there, making contact with the world and seeing what happens from there. I always thought that was super real and valuable. It's always better to go out and do stuff than talk about it or think about it, kind of a deal. So that's one. And I think kind of maybe some early work experiences. So, I worked, I'm not going to say the company name, but I worked at this place where we hired all these top executives kind of when I was younger in my career. And I got to work with all of them, and they were super touted, big names, C-level people from large corporations. And in working them, I was wow, nobody knows anything. It's not just me. It's we're all just kind of out here making stuff up as we go along, and no one's better than anybody else at anything. Anyone can kind of do anything. And that really was a impressionable thing for me to kind of really understand at a young age, that just because you're some big title doesn't mean you know better than anybody else. So yeah, I don't know if that's useful, but that's just the truth.
No, I think, there's definitely been situations in my own career that you kind of see that, right? That, we all have the ability to bring something to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So these are some of the quick hits. So favorite movie?
I grew up movies are actually kind of so I'm also an immigrant. Came here when I was 4 years old and didn't know any English. And actually, my parents couldn't afford a babysitter, so they actually bought cable. So I grew up watching movies. It kind of is who I am. So it's a very deep question. Actually, it sounds simple. So I don't actually have a favorite, but if you really want to if we're gonna boil it down, it's probably Back to the Future 2 or Karate Kid, the original, 1, 2, and 3, not 4. So yeah.
I think Back to the Future, it kind of just reminds you of I think of a certain generation that was part of us growing up, right? All of those.
Exactly. As a kid, I was that's a perfect movie. Nothing's ever going to be better than that. So yeah.
Yeah. And now I show my kids and they're because they're so used to the way that all of the special effects are now. They're what?
I know. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I still want that sports almanac though. Still looking for it.
There
you go. Yeah.
So do you have a favorite music genre?
Also, very tough question. I kind of like grew up, like the reason I even love music is just like listening to the Beatles growing up. Like that was, even from the early stuff all the way through, was always the most impressionable. But as a child of the 90s, it's like I could not say like 90s hip hop would probably be like, just like literally being like, I'm aging myself, but like kind of growing up in that era, I was like, this is incredible. This is the best. And I still like, at the end of the day, go back there, even without anything new. So yeah, kind of like, I don't know, those two probably.
Yeah, that's a wide spectrum, right? But I guess that's, common for most people. There's not just one type of music that you listen to. It kind of depends on your mood or what you're trying to do, right? So
exactly.
So the last event that you purchased a ticket for and attended.
So I'm in Cleveland, Ohio right now. I actually just went to a Guardians game. That's the new name. So that was fun. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but I love sports and I love like going to live sporting events, and it was not disappointing. It's always super fun, mainly because I get to eat. Like it's almost like calories don't count at professional sports stadiums. So kind of went nuts there. Yeah.
So what do you get at the concession stand?
You get definitely a hot dog. You have to get like multiple hot dogs, a lot of popcorn, some peanuts, just everything. Like, yeah, just close your eyes and chomp on something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I live in Massachusetts. And so, going to Fenway, I would not consider myself a huge baseball fan, but there's something about the energy of going to the stadium, totally. Right? It's awesome.
Exactly.
All right. So, and again, this would not be a podcast that Ree would be a part of if we didn't talk about cars. So the first car you, I guess, drove, that whether you bought it or was given to you, but the first car you ever drove.
Yeah, no. And Reed's gonna be disappointed because I am not much of a car guy, and so this might be an embarrassing answer, but my first car that I bought was actually, and I don't know why, but a Nissan Xterra, if you remember those cars.
Yes.
Kind of a funky looking. It was white. It was bad. It was not a good idea, looking back. And so not proud, but just got to be honest with you.
It got you from point A to point B, right?
It did. In some style, for sure. Yeah.
All right. And so what's your current vehicle?
Don't have one. I lived in LA for a long time. I'm kind of transitioning out of there and not sure exactly where, but so kind of gave everything up. And so Uber's been my primary mode of transportation. So I know I'm going to get beat up for that, but that's
I think it also depends on, like you said, where you are. You don't, if you have a place that has decent public transportation or Uber access, there's really no need for it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I'll get one eventually, but also cars are like crazy right now, right? Oh, yeah. Like the supply chain, it's like, I might have to wait. It's like almost like buying a house. Like now's not the time, like you got to wait till things settle. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess, so my last question, why did you agree to be on the podcast with Reed?
I think Reed is a super interesting guy. He's just like, he'll say what he thinks, and I appreciate that. I'm kind of the same way. Super transparent, and I think we're just going to have a blast, like just talking to each other.
All right. Well, we are looking forward to having you, and thanks for spending the time with us. And we'll have the longer interview with Reed coming up. Thanks.
Can't wait. Thank you, Kristen.